the sideline. But look at the way he skips round for the forehand out in the middle and lets it fly. Full-blooded strike on the forehand. Such a good job of bottling things up, and his wife Hortense, a very good tennis. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. Wow. Maybe something. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. All right, there we go. I think there'll be sound now. I think there'll now be sound.
Is proud to partner with Wimbledon.
It's got sound, okay. Your mind may not be sound, but you have sound. Let's turn this
center court.
volume.
The right partner
all the way down. Okay. So I was just saying, watching. I was going to come on earlier, but I was also going to watch Djokovic. And unfortunately, there were 2 matches last night that got called by curfew. So they're playing them on center court. Anyway, this match, Zverev, it looks like he's going to lose. He's the number 3 seed, and he's in the same half with Alcaraz, number 2 seed, or number 1 seed, I guess, because he won. But I think he's the number 2 seed because of his points. Anyway, point is, in that half, there's already 2 or 3 of his main competitors are out. Poor Djokovic has a tough run at age 38. Anyway, happy Canada Day to everyone. This is where we are on Railtown, 4889067, 3.5% of the outstanding 100 people. And it might just be having some people report what they own. I'd love to get that over 5 million. Why? I don't know. It's just a round number. I know. The big beautiful bill passed, but I don't know if it'll get through Congress because they changed it so much. But the one thing about it that's relevant to all right, so it's 5-4 Grundalek. So Zverev, I guess, won that set. Grundalek is serving 15 love, fifth set. And it'd be the biggest win of his life. Stan, I added another 17,000. All right, I'm writing that down. Stan. That's great, Stan. That's a big number to add. Some of us only have that much all in. I have a little more than that, but Chestnut, you are numero uno. Hey, Frank, happy Canada Day. Julie's marching onward. On 1020, partially filled, good. 96.7. That's great. Lewis is, wow, nice amount. Nice amount. Everybody's going to be, I think everyone's going to be very happy there in this stock. 125 247. All right, I'll get that all added tonight, and hopefully we'll be. All right, DMAC is up there. That's a great amount. I think any amount is going to be very fun for people if you can use fun when you're talking about investments. All right, Rinderlich is serving 40-15, 5-4, 2 sets all, and it's a fault. Second serve. He's nervous. He's brave man. He goes into the one spot of sun on the court, and he hits the ball into the net on the return. So we're now at 40-30. Add in. It's stressful when you decide to watch a match. Even though it helps Alcaraz. I'm rooting for this guy, Rinderlich. All right, just a simple serve. So it's going to be deuce, I have a feeling. I have a feeling it's about to be deuce. No, not yet. A lot of tentative back and forth, long rally going on. There it is. It's a cross court backhand, and it's in. He falls to the court crying. And Zverev, who I think is actually a decent guy, 6'6". Kinderlich is pretty tall too. His girlfriend's cheering and smiling, and he's happy. Young man wins the first round in Wimbledon, and he feels like he's on top of the world. And he is. All right. Let me see where the stock prices are. I always do it. I forgot to sign in. But it's quick once I get a, there we go, once I get a facial recognition. It's very quick. Okay, I'll get the quotes. Wow. Wow. I didn't know that. All right, now it's back, but Railtown was over 43 cents. It went as high as 44.9. Guys, it's trying to break out. Let me see if I can, I don't know if I still have that chart I did from the weekend. There, maybe that's it. Here's one sort of, I drew it on, with a iPad pen. But this trend, which is very, very roughly drawn, happens, this upward parallel lines in blue, happens to cross at the top, at the high of the stock, and you see it over there. That's roughly 43 cents. So today, it punctured on the upside. That's what it's trying to do. This might be a little clearer. This is a bar chart. And I think you could include these earlier bounces up after it pulled back so heavily a year ago, but I'm not counting those because I think that was just dead cat bounces as it went further downward. That's on the left side of this chart. But here, as it's recovering, it's tried once, twice, and now this is the third time to break through that 43-cent level. And I think once it breaks through, the obvious place it goes is 60 cents, the high. But I actually think it'll just carry on further. I don't expect that 60 cents to be any kind of resistance at all, because anybody that bought there has likely already sold out over the last year, if they were weak hands, if they were uncertain. So anyway, I think this is really good news that it's broken through and got above 44 cents. That's the first penetration, and maybe we'll see a follow through today or tomorrow. He's giving his speech. He just couldn't be more pleased. His girlfriend is excited because the camera's on her and she's going to have a lot of money. All right, Gary Maddle. I think you're our 100th investor that I know about. I mean, I'm sure it's more, but just from people saying it. Yeah, Pizza Rules 44 too. That's amazing. That's fine. Look, I know it's annoying that you're not able to buy inexpensively in there. I don't know. Okay, so I put down in Giuseppe, I was writing down, is 42.50. That's good. These prices are going to all seem cheap, in my judgment, in the near future. So it's just the friction of doing business, and it's how it is. Luckily, you're adding. So as you're buying at 42 or 43, because you bought some earlier, your average price is still lower than 43. So Phil Haynes, that's good, Phil. I have your name already, but let me get that added amount. And I got DMAC. All right. So I think I have everybody that just gave me. Okay. Yeah, average up, Giuseppe. That's right. If you can get to 50K, which it's a good number. I mean, I was playing with the numbers last night based on 50,000 and using my first target of $4. Obviously, that's a nice number. 200 grand. But if it goes to $40, I mean, you can figure that out, and that's kind of. These are all projections, not promises. But I think once it starts trading after the deal's done, $4 might be low. It might be low, but from wherever it is, I think it still has 10x in it at least. So it may be something if you have 50,000 shares, 500 shares is also going to be valuable. Imagine if it goes to $40. And that's the low end of the range that people have talked to me projecting. We're all doing the same thing. We're all, trying to figure out what the revenues could be, multiplying it by the historic and current, I guess, multiples times revenue. But numbers I hear $35 to $80, so $40 sounds achievable to me. And that, with 50,000 shares, we can start changing our outlook. I really think we need to maybe, and we'll find out as this goes up, but this might be the ticket to ride, like the Beatles song, and we just hang on to it, and then we get away from, there's great energy in the space calls, and let's get on a conference call, let's do this. But most of the people that come on are coming to take your money away from you. Or if they're not, there's a whole horde of hyenas, cowardly hyenas that are there to do it. And I think this stock is going to just lift us out of this stock's going to lift us out of the mire and bring us to the highlands. So Julie's updated number is, wow, Julie, that is terrific. What I like about that number, and I'm not going to decide yet, but when you have that little bit extra, if the stock goes up, let's say and I'm not pitching this to you as a squeeze. Djokovic comes on court, all white, behind somebody, and he looks good for 38 years old. Looks better than I do. Anyway, it gives you a little bit to sell. You know, you can sell 14 and keep 100 or something. But I really don't think this is a stock we're going to want to sell unless there's some sort of short squeeze, temporary rocket ship. But I'm not focused on that side of the story. Well, again, his name is Mueller. Ooh, is he German or French? It looks like he's French. Mueller. All right. Now, let's look at the prices of the other stocks. Oh, somebody asked me something. What do I think of Nixie this week? Nixie's 216. GTII is 18. I was going to try to call in to my broker. I never, I have a bunch of stock there that's restricted because it's the dividend. It's like 11,000 shares. I'd like to sell it, but I don't know. I submitted all the paperwork over a year ago. I'll find out. But I think the obvious thing is getting out, swapping GTII out. Tesla, by the way, is down 18. That's an intriguing story. You watched part of the video with me yesterday, and I guess Tesla is more, the thing I liked about Tesla most of all was the battery system, not the automobiles. And but then yesterday when we watched that video, he's gathering so much data that may be the next leap up for Tesla. But he chose to attack Trump. And Tesla is heavily subsidized by the taxpayer. So it's an obvious place to cut costs. Just chop all the subsidies to SpaceX, to electric vehicles, to the Boring Company. Just chop all that. That'd cut the deficit. I'd be very nervous of Tesla because the shorts are in there too. And he's got to kiss and make up with Trump somehow. It's one thing to raise money when your stock's $400 a share. It's another to do it at $50 or $90. Same in the ones that we've been in. G-Bucks is up to 142.5. It's up 3.5 cents. It's heavily green. And then Nixie's up 9 cents, it looks like, at 218. I don't have any information on Nixie other than what we had before. And this is how I see Nixie. They've announced that they're going to have some weird name. It's in the announcement. Gross revenue. Revenue is gross. So what does it mean, gross revenue? But anyway, they're targeting 10 million a month. And they're it's the same kind of story as ZJYL, GDC, G-Bucks. there's a group of investors who own the majority of the stock, but they also own over the float. They have more than the float. And then you get in there, you do some things, you bring on this, bring on that, put AI in your news story, put this and that, and all of a sudden it's starting to run and you got a squeeze going on. But I think in the case of Nixie, the good news is the revenue projections are very strong. However, as you know, the auditor resigned. Now it says in there, leaving for family reasons or whatever the standard excuse, the very anodyne excuse was. I don't think that's good, and I think that takes time. So I don't see anything happening to Nixie in the short run. I could be wrong. There could be some surprise, somehow they juice the buying somehow and it gets going, or there's some news and it follows on. But I don't expect Nixie to do very much, if anything, until the fall. And it may never do anything. But I think any of the vision that these guys had may be delayed by the fact they need to get their audits done by a new auditor. And for me, that's too much risk. So then, whether or not Nixie goes up, it might, but it's still right at this moment, it's a gamble as far as I can tell. I don't have information. I know the auditor left. I'm a little, what does it mean, gross revenues? It's unnecessary. Is that just a mistake, or is that a lawyer trying to protect something that's going on? I don't know. I've been in Nixie. I think people have made money in Nixie, and I'm still optimistic about the ability of the people there to make something happen, but I think it's time. And so for me, in this very short window, to me, the question comes down to simply, do I want Railtown or Nixie for the next 2 months? And hands down, I want Railtown. Hands down, I want Railtown. Maybe just for the next 2 days. But Railtown, once you're in it, the problem is with, the idea of getting in and then you'll sell and go back. I think once you're in Railtown, it's a lot like, once you go white, you never are quite right. No. Once you go white, you never, I can't make a rhyme off the top of my head. But anyway, once you're in Railtown, I don't think you'll go back. I don't think you'll go back. And now it's 43 cents. The whole thing is, Gary, I'd like to see everybody here get out of this chasing stocks that nobody on Wall Street would recommend to you. We've learned our lesson. The market is completely rigged for the criminals and the banks and the funds and offshore in the under $5 stock area, under $7 stock area. I'm sure it's happening with Tesla right now, that people are selling stock they don't own, trying to borrow stock, lying on their ticket, getting attorneys to lie for them to cover when they open up a new account. I'm sure it's happening with Tesla. The difference with Tesla is there's no clear retail buying anymore of stocks. That's not the campaign that Wall Street backs. What Wall Street backs now is getting their wealth advisors to put the money with managers, put the money in maybe ETFs, put the money with funds, put the money maybe in-house to manage. And then there's trails and there's fees, and it's all about assets under management. You literally could be an insurance salesman to be on Wall Street now. But the difference is with Tesla, those money managers, those retirement accounts, those family offices, those investment bankers follow Tesla. They have their own trading desks. They have trading strategies. They have analysts. They have buying power. So even if Tesla is being shorted, as I'm sure it is, with non-existent shares, they can fight back. There is no fight back in these stocks down here. So I think Railtown, Gary, gives us the chance to get out of this and get into an area where we have meaningful accounts. We don't have to chase the next, hey, I heard that Vinny's going to be buying, he's working for this company, he's got a couple of whales, they're buying it, it's out of Johnston Lemon, and there's a big short position, and they're bringing in a Bitcoin piece, and there's an AI piece, and they're going to have an announcement, and they're going to do a special dividend, and the thing's going to run, and the best thing is William has his head up his ass, and he doesn't know shit about it, so it's going to run. I want to get away from all those stocks. Because I'll tell you what, Gary, if you make money in one of them, they'll take it from you in the next one. I'd like you to start to see what real investing is like, and not chasing the shit of the shit, some of which there might be some good guys involved, but how do they beat that system? Now, Nixie is the residual of Recruiter.com. The CEO there, temporarily anyway, was a guy named Granger Whitlaw. He got stock in Nixie. He sold it. I understand. We'll see. We'll check the filings. He's gone. And he got much higher prices. I think they've organized a whole campaign to make Nixie a meme stock, to use that word. I've never used that word before, but that's kind of where it fits. Can they do it again? I don't know, but time is going by. Time kills all meme stocks, I think, and the potential for shorts. Did he hit the line? He missed it. Djokovic almost broke Mueller. Mueller's serving its deuce, but it was ad out, and he missed the line by that much. So I don't think Nixie's going to do much this week. Even if it does, I still think if you're thinking, should I sell Nixie? Should I buy Railtown? I think hands down, risk reward, it's buy Railtown. Nixie could go up, but that doesn't mean that decision is the wrong decision right now, because we don't know. I mean, if on Friday Nixie goes to 275 and Railtown's at 45 cents, you could look at it and say, well, maybe I could have done that better. But you didn't know. But once it's there, it may come right back down. There's a lot we don't know, and a lot that can go wrong in these manipulated stocks. They're trying to manipulate it in a good sense. I'm not, it's just my vocabulary. There's probably a word out there for when you try to construct something and it involves a lot of intricate laying in the pieces of the puzzle other than manipulate. But I don't have that word. Maybe I'll look in a thesaurus before I come on next time. Mueller. All right, it's add in. So Djokovic had a chance. Mueller double faults. No, he doesn't. I guess that first serve was a let. Very small screen. Djokovic goes long. Mueller wins the first game. So, Gary, I think if your idea is should you hold on to Nixie, I had to face that same choice. I sold Nixie right around this price, I think. Actually lower than this price. Nixie's now 215. I think I got out at 206. There's a bunch of good, smart people there trying to make Nixie work, trying to make it go up, and that could happen. That could happen. But Railtown, I can't explain why it's July and they haven't finished that deal. I have my ideas, but I don't think it's going to go many more days, but I could be wrong. Maybe it goes another 2 weeks. Maybe it goes to August. But at some point, some undefined point, Railtown is going to announce they completed the merger where they acquired AI Partners, 160 companies doing 400 million reportedly in revenue. And then of those companies, they'll probably target the best of the best to roll up and bring inside Railtown that revenue, all AI revenue, all high growth, all high margin, all the delectable revenues that Wall Street is now looking for in AI, all revenues that get huge multiples. Nixie, they mention AI, but if Nixie is doing something with its revenue, some sort of gross revenue thing, I don't know what multiple goes on that revenue. Could be 1 for 1, 2 for 1. I don't know. I don't have the information, but I do know with Railtown, if Railtown gets to 10 million a month, which is what Nixie is projecting right now, and I think Railtown could project 10 million a month easily over the next 1, 2, 3 months. The multiple on that might be 100 times, but at 25 times, that's a massive valuation and a huge leap in the price. So you have to decide, it's not Pac-Man. You don't gobble the one and then move to the other because Pac-Man is linear, but this Mrs. Pac-Man goes this way and that way and gloop gloop. But there is a clock and there are some other ghosts or something eating as well. In this case, as you're waiting for Nixie, Railtown could be $2, and then you won't go in. You'll say, "Oh, I missed it. It's $2. I can't have. I should have. Oh, woe is me." And then the next thing you know, it's $7. You go, "Oh, it's just too much. I can't. Oh God, it's." Oh my God, why didn't I get it at 43 cents? And then I could have bought it at $2. Now it's $7. Oh, I'll wait till it goes back. And then it's $15. And it's just human nature. I'm not picking on you. It's just totally human nature. It's what I did with Bitcoin. I don't expect anything of Nixie this week, but I no longer have any kind of information flow. And that all by itself means it's not a good investment for me. I don't have an edge. You remember the scene in Outlaw Josie Wales? If I've got this right, the sun's behind him and he'll have an edge. Uh-oh, Djokovic. Djokovic is... Oh, he won it. Okay, he won the first game. So it's 1-1. It's all 1-1. Okay. Gary has 5,000. All right, I got that. That's great. Sold all my RLAIF, made some dollars, bought G-Bucks, to sell after July 7th. Then we'll buy Railtown. I'm pretty convinced the shorts. Okay, so DB is a short. People are showing themselves now. I'm going to cross you off the list, DB. I'm going to assume you do not come back into Railtown. So sold his. This stock is not to buy it at 26 cents, sell it at 30 cents, 36 cents, make a little money, and to buy G-Bucks cheap. And I'm convinced. Why is he pretty convinced that the shorts will keep Railtown low? This isn't the game with Railtown. The shorts don't control Railtown. But DB just showed who he is. But it's all right. Look, if you want to play G-Bucks, play G-Bucks. You might double your money, triple your money. And you know, Ham gives you his updates on it. I know he's got high targets, and he could be right. He could be right. So good luck with that, DB. I'm not going to comment any further. Guys, this is just to get you thinking about if Railtown goes up, I'll take a quick profit and I'll go somewhere else. I want you to stop doing that. As you hop from idea to idea, they're just stripping you of your money. And it's going in their pockets. I don't want you to do that anymore. Railtown, I don't know how much this short seller had of Railtown, but Julie has 114. If Julie hangs on and that goes to $50, that means she's got to resist the urge of every new stock. I'm going to sell. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get in. I'm get out. But sometime, let's say over the next 18 months. Do you see that? That's 18 months. I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to happen. But if that goes to $50, I don't know those weird number there, 114,200. Julie's going to have $5.7 million. That's what I want you to wait up for. Now, we're going to learn more information as we go. And if the story doesn't seem like that after it's at $4, $5, $6 or whatever, we can make adjustments then. But I think I want Julie thinking about, maybe I didn't swap out at the right price. Maybe I didn't do all that. I want her to forget all that. And I want her to focus on potentially over the next 18 months, we'll have a better idea of the timing. This goes to $50. It could go higher, but I'm not projecting that right now. I'm telling you that's the potential upside. What I'm projecting right now is $4 or $5 very quickly. And by that, I mean anywhere from 1 week to 2 months. And those are, those are approximate too. But if Julie can take her account to $5 million, 5.7, she doesn't have to play with all these things and listen to DB. Well, I sold my Railtown and I made a quick profit on buying G-Bucks cheap. What the hell is G-Bucks? Julie, and that's what Julie's going to think in 18 months. She's going to think, well, I've got over 5 million in my account, and frankly, once it's 50, you don't know. Microsoft or Nvidia or AMD could come in. They're partners already. They could come in and buy the company for stock. They could do it at $100 a share, and then all of a sudden you've got Nvidia stock. And you didn't even have to make a decision. And then your account's sitting there with $10 million worth of NVIDIA stock, Julie's account. But then you're there, you don't have to listen to this crap anymore. And you can get away from it. This guy, DB, is manipulative. He's trying to get you to think of turning Railtown into trading chips. Oh, you got in at 26, you get out at 43, and you go chase G-Bucks. They want you there to create the upward momentum in these stocks. Now, the fact that G-Bucks could have a series of pieces that come together to make the stock squeeze, it's possible. And you go listen to him for that. He's the knowledgeable guy on G-Bucks. And if, from the first time he announced here on these calls that he was hearing out of Goldman Sachs that stock was going to be big this year, when he said that, it was 65 cents, 70 cents. So people had a chance to make a lot of money in G-Bucks because of Ham's recommendation. And maybe you want to try that again. I think there's an aspect of it that's a gamble. Doesn't mean the gamble won't work out. Doesn't mean the gamble won't work out. But I don't see the gamble in Railtown. And so as Railtown's a whole different quality. And DB's trying to get you to think that Railtown's just the same as G-Bucks. G-Bucks belongs in the, I don't know, the roulette table, or the when you roll the die, the craps table, or the Railtown is out. It's out across the parking lot from the casino, and you're sitting in a I don't know, an investment banker's office or a honest money manager's office, and Railtown has the parameters to make your account valuable, and you don't have to listen to DB or DB. I'm going to cross DB off the list and assume never be back. I mean, let's just go over what he's saying so you recognize it. And he bought some cheap. See, he wants to keep your money in motion. They want to steal it. Your money in motion gets the algorithmic buy computers going up, and they spoof back and forth. There's momentum. They can cross shares, bring in a CEO like a Frommer, like a Gus Fliakos, and they do a deal, pop the bubble, the stock goes down, they do a reverse split, and you lose your money, and you're wondering what the hell happened. Railtown is the way out of the slums, getting into the brownstone in the poshest part of town. Maybe not the biggest brownstone, but maybe you're at least in the neighborhood. I'm the middle kid. Wow. 40th and a half. All right. All right. It's your 40th. I thought you typed 50th yesterday. So they had you a few years after they were married. Whoo, Djokovic is back in town. Wow, cross court. It's deuce on Mueller's serve. Mueller. I think Mueller's French, though. I don't think he's German. He's a good serve. He's got a good serve. I'm trying to sell my wife's 22. Good for you. It won't take, because there's no real market in it. There's no real market. But just leave it in or lower it. You could try lowering it. Eventually, that's going to be worth a penny or 4 pennies if it's worth that much. Just wondering if Nixie being on the Russell 3000 makes any difference. Well, you know something, I didn't know that that was happening. I think it would make a difference. I think it would be very positive because index funds or ETFs that base their uh, investment strategy on owning all the stocks in the fund on a pro rata basis, there'd be buying. So I think it would bring buying into Nixie. It would imply that Nixie wants to get on a different exchange. Let me see if there was news. I thought I checked the news this morning, but maybe not. My service doesn't give news. E-Trade, it doesn't always give news as quickly as, yeah. So Nixie is added to the Russell 3000 E. I guess that's Europe. Oh gosh. It's not letting me read it. It's not letting me read it. So let me go. It's not letting me read it. Okay, there we go. A company that integrates AI technologies into telecom infrastructure, it's the right buzzwords, has been added to the Russell 3000E. I'm sure that's Europe index. The micro cap company, currently valued at 43 million, joins the index despite facing challenging market conditions, with Investing Pro data showing a significant 60% decline in share price over the last 6 months. The Russell 3000E combines the Russell 3000 index with the Russell Microcap Index, representing up to 4,000 of the US stocks. The index is reconstituted annually to reflect changes. Nixie's inclusion comes amid strong revenue growth of 54% in the last 12 months, though the company maintains a weak overall financial health score. Mike Schmidt said, and that CEO looks like he knows what he's doing. We're honored to be included. I don't know if you have to pay to be included, but that's a big, I think it's a good step. And I think it means that there'll be at least some buying of the stock as long as it maintains its position in the index. Just automatic buying in ETFs or in certain mutual funds. This milestone reflects significant progress we have made in executing our strategy and expanding our platform across AI-powered telecom infrastructure and messaging solutions. Look, you're going to see AI in every story you talk about. And I don't know how to sift the wheat from the chaff. I don't. Nixie describes itself as a communications and infrastructure company that provides voice and messaging services through its Link AI platform, combining infrastructure ownership with AI-enhanced service delivery. The index changes became effective at the conclusion of the annual reconstitution of the Russell US indexes. And I think the Russell's going up, by the way. What's my target? 4,000 on the Russell, but this is the Russell E. In other news, Nixie reported a notable increase in an unaudited gross revenue. I don't get that, adding that word gross. But anyway, unaudited, because they don't have an auditor. Now they do, but they got to go back through everything. But they reached 5.2 million in May, up from 1.4 million in April. This growth aligns the company's with the company's acquisition of assets from LeadNova.ai. They aim to achieve 10 million monthly revenue run rate by August. That's next month. And this is all good. And Gary, only you can decide if that's exciting enough for you. I certainly played Nixie. I think people listened to me last year and they made money, and then I played it this year. But for me, my decision is I just ran out of time. That doesn't mean it's not going to work out, but I want to own Railtown. So I ran out of time to be in Nixie. I don't know how long Nixie's going to take. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Is it really AI? I believe it probably is, because this guy, Mike Schmidt, looks like he knows what he's doing. Are the revenues high margin or low margin? Are the revenues, they acquired LeadNova. So are the revenue, do you have to offset your revenues with the cost of acquiring LeadNova? I don't know. I'm not an accountant. Maybe that's why they're saying gross revenues. I don't know. Railtown any day could be 75 cents, or any day it could be $1.50. Any day it could be $2. Nixie, I think if there is indeed buying from index funds or ETFs because of this, it could give it some strength. But they're gonna, there's gonna be short selling in it, just like every stock under $5. I was expecting better out of Nixie by now, and that's true of. I expected big things in the third quarter last year, and big things in the beginning of this year, and it just hasn't happened yet. I think it's a gamble, and I think Railtown is an investment. Looking at the price and volume in RLAIF, do you think for most of the buyer? Yeah. I do think. The United States is the buying, and I think some of the shorting could just be arbitrage. So part of the shorting that might be showing up, that's why I don't want to believe that it's a short squeeze play. If you're a Canadian criminal, or you're a Canadian day trader, or you're a Canadian fund manager, and Railtown, RAIL, trades at okay, dot. I guess I have to do dot. He's such a good man. He's such a good man. Oh, wow. Wow. I can't find it on, let me go to Yahoo. Rail.cn. It's 56 cents. It closed yesterday. It's not trading today. But yesterday, the volume was 95,000 shares, and I think ours was 300. So, yes, I think there's more volume in the over-the-counter markets. And I have two broad thoughts. On the one hand, because of the computerized shorting, we're able to buy our stock. We've purchased almost 5 million shares. And from where? No one's selling. You know, those restrictions on buying the stock, the same restrictions apply to selling the stock. Who's selling? No one. No one material is selling. So we're able to pick up these shares at cheap prices because the shorts are giving it to us. And that's why, you know, I wouldn't look a good gift horse in the mouth. Once the restriction comes off the stock, that gift is no longer going to be there, at least at these prices. The second thing, though, I point out is there's an arbitrage from Canada. So the stock closed at 57 cents. And yesterday, Railtown closed at, okay, I got it. Railtown yesterday closed at, in the United States, 41.40. So, oh gosh. So Djokovic might have won the first set. That's not what I want. I want this $1 Canadian. All right, so the US dollar is $136 Canadian. Let me do it differently. 57 cents CAD versus USD. Let's see what it says. So using Google, it shows 57 cents equals 42 cents US. So 57 cents Canadian, that's the price it closed yesterday in Canada, is equivalent to 42 cents here in the United States. And in fact, we closed at 41.4 yesterday. Today we're trading at 43 cents. So yes, you could argue that maybe we're getting the stock price up by about a penny compared to where it should be based on the close yesterday. But we don't know where Railtown would be trading in Canada today if it were trading. So yes, I think our volume is higher here, but it's probably a combination that we are buying. That you make a good point, but it might be the arbitrage. It might be the computers rapidly buying and selling versus somewhat rapidly versus the Canadian price versus the loonie and the greenback. And yeah, I don't personally think we're moving the stock of Railtown. We might have some impact on the strength of it and the the fact that the criminals haven't been able to drive it down, maybe, but I'm not sure that it's we. But it is something to look at, and I think you asked me, somebody asked me that a week ago, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And there's no question there's much more volume in the United States than in Canada. But I don't think it's the dog leading the horse. I think the horse is pulling the carriage. I can't make that analogy work, but I think it's the Canadian stock that's going to move this, and it's the Canadian investors, whether it's mutual funds, wealth advisors, retirement plans, that are going to move the stock, at least initially, because they know the stock, they know the players. When Djokovic retires, you guys are going to miss him. He's amazing. I think he's the best player I've ever seen. Absolutely the best player I've ever seen. And I've seen them all. Account settings. All right. That's a good, wow, good number. I'm getting yellows. Getting yellows of all these people that are going to be rich. But that's the one thing I really want you thinking. Somebody said it yesterday too. I think it was maybe Lion, saying that, if it went to 5, that's a win for retail. I don't want you thinking of this as just another trade, and I really think it's something that if it goes from 40 cents to $5, that's confirmation of the trend we're in. On the way, it'll pause. Nothing goes straight up except for rocket ships and the U.S. deficit. Mueller's playing better. Mueller. Oh, Djokovic is amazing. He hits the ball back like a rocket with the narrowest margin of error. And he's nervous. I can tell he's nervous. He took out a big sigh of relief. Oh, he's mad at himself now. That's great account settings. Hey, Mark. Cute. There's cute. Brandon Neely, have nothing invested, but that guy that called Wolf to run on yesterday's new one is saying up 123. Let me look. So it went from 41 cents to what? I don't care. I'll look at it. Yeah, so when it closed yesterday at 39 cents and it's 83 cents now, and you could have purchased it yesterday. It's up 100%. That guy knew what he's talking about. Let's chase everyone that comes on. And that one worked for one day, but what happens next? When you look at the chart, Wolfspeed shares are trading higher after the company initiated its pre-packaged restructuring process. Restructuring, you know what that is? Bankruptcy. Semiconductors. Look, Brandon, if you want to play Wolf, that is just playing with fire. The yearly high on that stock is $25.50, $25.49. This is a yearly high on WOLF. And today it was as high as $1.10. I don't know what their bankruptcy process is, their reorg process is, but it's going to involve investments, cram down, reverse splits. Let other people, Brandon, let other people do this stuff. This stuff is crap investing, and you can tie up. We've already spent 3 years doing this, 4 years. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. Okay, why? Finger gave you a chance at least 3 times to take a 10x return. We didn't do it. Even GTI gave a 10x because we thought it was going to squeeze, but then the other side comes in, crams it down, and then they distract us with COSM, much like this WOLF. Wow, it's up. I better go over there, better get in it. And then if everyone ran in and it went up, they will sell into it. They'll do a deal, and they walk away. They walk away with money. And they'll put things on their Twitter feeds. Hey, had a little fun with retail today. I don't want you guys to be the suckers anymore. If you can just watch what happens with Railtown. This is a real stock. And I'm sorry people didn't rush over and double their money in a day. But there was no indication on the chart that that was going to happen. And the guy, all he said is strong, something like strong trading looks like a short squeeze. Just made up. I think it's a sucker's bet. They're trying to get you all to move in, drive a little higher. They sell out, take your money, and then the bankruptcy goes forward. Sorry, the restructuring, prepackaged restructuring, which never is good for retail, never is good for shareholders. Hey, Ryan, can I explain the dark pool? Not really. It didn't exist, at least not in my consciousness, but I don't think it ever really existed before because there were trading desks, and market makers. So if you had an over-the-counter stock like Kelly Oil and Gas, there would be market makers at Smith Barney, Tucker Anthony, Prudential Beige, Goldman Sachs, I think. Well, no, I don't know. There were a lot of buying there, but I'm not sure they made a market in it. So you'd have several companies, brokerage firms that would make a market. And then you would see the bid and the ask, and you would drop a ticket if you had 100 shares or 500 shares. You drop it through your wire office, the cage. They'd enter it for you. Just as I was leaving, that we were starting to be able to do some stuff by the computer, but mostly we had to write it out, give it to the cage, and then they'd enter it for us. But the bigger orders, you would call, at least I could. I would call down to the desk and I'd hey, can I get a price on 10,000 shares of Kelly Oil? Are you a buyer or seller? I'm buying. Hang on. Hey, we can give it to you. We can give it to you with an eighth. So I can price it at the ask. Yes, we'll give you an eighth. Click. So I'd write the ticket, drop it, and it'd be already. I don't forget how I would draw it, but it would already be executed by the time I gave it to Lily. Um, uh, so she could match it. She wouldn't enter it. Anyway, that doesn't exist anymore. You don't call them in. There's no trading desk. If for some reason you did a trade away from the desk, or if you did it away from the market, I never did that, but I assume you could do that. I don't know if it'd be called the dark pool. I do know large blocks would get traded without, it happened all the time where they'd be crossed and they don't actually enter the marketplace, but those tickets are then printed. You see it. I think dark pools are new, and I think dark pools are, on the one hand, all those tickets supposedly are a matter of record that anyone that you can see, I guess, in the future, but those tickets exist. On the other hand, I think the only reason that dark pools were created is to lie, deceive, and cheat. And I have noticed in some of the stocks that we have played, where when the movement is high, let's say the stock's going up and there's a bunch of buying. Those buying tickets might be done in the dark pool during the day, and then I remember seeing a couple of times anyway, they suddenly get printed at 405. They didn't want the pressure of the buying. They do everything to confuse you about the bid and the ask of a given stock. So if there's a lot of buying in a squeeze stock, they do it in the dark pool so you don't see it. And then they do the spoofing. It's all illegal. It's all manipulated, but nobody cares because the dark pools and this system is set up to help the banks. By the way, this WOLF is just designed to keep you in this mood that you can chase these stocks and make money. Just because this one worked 24 hours later doesn't mean, number one, that you'd be selling, but you might. That's great. But how many others don't work? It gets you in the wrong frame of mind, hopping. That means your money's there to be pickpocketed. I want you to be in Railtown so your money becomes money that's in, and if I have to direct you to some of my friends and you just put it in managed money so you can keep your own hands off it, maybe that's what we do. But I want your accounts to be meaningful, and you don't have to chase this crap. But yeah, WOLF went up. There's no question. And I forget who said it. Might have been Lion. But that's what Lion likes to do. He likes to trade. And he likes to get credit for calling something. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make sure you make some money. And second set is 2-all. This guy Mueller is looking confident. That's a good point. I didn't notice that, Ryan. The username is resolved. I don't think it screwed up the share account. I don't think. I wrote things down, I cross-checked it. I don't think, but I don't think the share account is overstated in any way. If anything, it's understated because I think there's at least 10 people that didn't give me they gave me their name, but they didn't give me how many shares they own. So I think we have, our share count's much higher than what I'm reporting. Yeah, there you go. I like Bill Miko. What a foolish trade, DB. You must be short or just dumb. I agree with that. Taking a quick profit on Railtown, I think, is a mistake. I think Railtown is a classic stock of let your winners run. And by run, look, I believe you could have purchased Facebook at $12, but if I'm wrong, maybe it was $22. And as it went back to the offering price of 38, if that 36, you might have been tempted to sell. That would have been a bad decision. And I think selling here in Railtown, you will regret. But a guy like DB doesn't make money investing in stocks. He's trying to get you to be jittery, quick to sell, quick to move to something else. And a lot of people are on here. The shorts come on, they're either belligerent, they're either mean, they come on to try to create strife, or they come on as friends, or they come on as part of the team in the conversation, sharing ideas. But they have one goal: to make your money move so they can steal it. All right, so this guy's a short. Wall Street, Wolfie, it's all a gamble. Well, this is very Albert Camus-like. Life is a gamble. If I walk outside, a piano might fall on me from the upper level, or if I get in a car, a train might hit it. Everything's a gamble. This is useless. They're trying to make you separate you from good thinking and from your money. Railtown is not a gamble, in my judgment. Obviously, that's opinion, and obviously anything can happen. WOLF is a gamble. GTII is a gamble. Listening to Wall Street Wolfie is a gamble. But if it gives you a little feeling in your loins, go ahead and do it. But that's gambling. That's not investing. Even with absolutely. If you have 20,000 shares, I think I have that down, but I'm going to check again. Ryan, if you have 20,000 shares and it goes to $5, these guys would say to you, that's a win. Take your money. But it's not. Railtown is not a gamble. It's not one of these fast buck Charlie stocks, up and down. And there's no dark pools going on. There might be, but it's not going to save them. That's the thing. The shorts can do everything they always do, but it's not going to save them with Railtown. The only mistake that could happen with Railtown, and I'm going to try to get, once we're over 5 million, I'm going to write an email to the CEO, nice, short, as a friend of the company. I'll mention that our ragtag group has 5 million shares. He might read the email. The only thing I can think that would make Railtown get in trouble is if they did a deal with Roth Capital or with Benchmark type, those type of companies. But I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. I think when he comes on his roadshow in the United States, which he's talked about, you saw it in the presentation he made. I think the stock will be $10. So it's Railtown is going to be a stock like Tesla, where there's going to be enough institutional power behind the stock, whether it's research, trading desks, thinkers, reinvestable money, ETFs. I don't know if it'll be on an exchange like Nixie now is, on a index, but it could be. But it'll have that kind of power behind it. It won't be able to be manipulated by these guys whose whole living is this scumbag living that they do, trying to get pennies back and forth. They don't give you ideas, although I guess Lion gave you WOLF yesterday briefly, and I shut it down so quickly that maybe I didn't give him a chance to explain it. Ham's problem is he never says sell. He says, my guys are not selling. Take your profits and roll to later calls. A lot of people lost money listening to him. Well, I don't know. I've found that Ham has told people to sell or take, every time he describes, when people ask him what to do, well, as the stock goes up, take a little off the table, take a little off the table. So I think he's talked about selling. Maybe he hasn't come out and said, I don't know, using an example. I actually think he may have believed that you should have taken some money out of GTII as it was up. I can't remember those calls, those those conference calls. I'm trying to think of one like G-Bucks when it went to 12. I don't know if he said sell or not, but I think he did point out that's 10x and you could take your original money off the table. So I don't think it's true that he doesn't tell you when to sell. I do think he believes that G-Bucks can squeeze. I think he believes Finger can squeeze. I don't know what he thinks about GTI in that range anymore. But I think in those two cases, he thinks there's squeezes on the way. And so in that sense, he would probably tell you not to sell. Or he wouldn't say that, but he wouldn't emphasize selling in the early stages. But I think he's always made it very clear that you should at least get your original money off the table. And I think he's tried to train people that when these stocks go up, you can't stand like a statue. You got to do something. And so I don't think you're right. I think he maybe I'm splitting hairs, but I think he's been clear that you should sell and you should use money management strategies to take your money off the table. If you're saying, does he tell you a specific exit point? Maybe not, but he's given you targets. He said, put the stock out at such, and such. None of them have gone that high yet. But for example, I remember on GME, I think his daughter sold it at $80 or $65 a share, or calls, some number. And I think he was here saying it. So I'm not sure you're correct that he never says sell. I just don't agree with you. Where I think with finger motion, if you're talking about that's the only stock that has calls, I saw it differently than Ham did this first half of the year. I thought finger motion, as I've said repeatedly now, I thought finger motion could give you a double or triple, or even go to $4 or $5, $6. And it ended up pretty much doing that. And in that, a lot of people asked me when the stock was lower, should we buy calls? I just thought you should just buy the stock. But some people bought calls, and I don't know if Augustine made money on this recommendation I made, but I was actually suggesting that he not put everything on finger, but he may have made money on those calls. 25 cents, not bad. But I was saying sell the calls, and I think, and I was saying sell some of the stock, sell covered calls, take your, So I think there was a difference then. But that's all I expected out of Finger. I just expected Finger to give you a trade this year, and I think it gave it to you. Ham believes Finger is going to squeeze, so that's what makes a market. And what's going to happen? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's all about giving it your best guess. And for me, because Railtown, I might tell you something different if Railtown weren't here, but Railtown is here. And the price is held down because we're in the middle of a corporate action. The stock is on a restricted list. That's why it's here. It's so hard to fight. If you walked into Costco and you were having a cookout for 20 people, and you walked in and they came over the announcement that they just had a oversized shipment of fresh lobsters in, but they wanted to sell them before the weekend. So they were giving you could buy lobsters 10 cents on the dollar, all you can get. You'd go do it. There'd be a mad scurry to go buy those lobsters before they're gone. But here, Railtown's selling 10 cents on the dollar, in my opinion. And people are like, well, maybe I should be in WOLF. Maybe I should be. There's another stock someone said on the space call, and I saw on Reddit that someone's got this stock, or maybe I should hop over to that stock. And Nixie's now on the Russell 3000E, whatever the hell that means. I got to hop over there, and I better go back over to GTII because they've got a nice sounding CEO, and he's got an AI app for trading. And you're walking around with your head chopped off. You're a chicken with your head chopped off. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Your head's up on the post saying gobble, 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 and your body is walking around, and the axe is in the hand of the shorts. Anyway, I don't think it's true. I think Ham has told people they should sell and they should have their orders out there. DB, big risk. Canada's closed today. Rail is up by 5%. Let's look at where Rail is. I can't get the quote. All right, what's the Joker doing? It looks like he's losing. No, it's on serve. Mueller is serving. He's got 3 games. Djokovic has 4. And it's 15-30. So Djokovic could get his break here. Is that it? No. Yes. It is, no. All right, so it's add out, and well, no, it's 1540. So Djokovic, he just needs to get one more point, and he has his break. From Mueller. This is DB. I am not short, long for Finger, GTI, G-Bucks, Rail. Just sent this message, share my thoughts. I've been following you for 2 years, and you promoted all these stocks, even talking to CEOs now, Railtown. I take exception that word promoted is loaded. I did not promote GTII. I did not promote G-Bucks. I traded G-Bucks, and I listened to Ham just like you did as it relates to G-Bucks. Finger, I'm not sure I promoted it, but you're right. I had interviews with the CEO. I like Finger. I like the group of people. But I actually think I was a dead weight on Finger for a long time, and maybe that's what frustrated some people, and certainly recently. And I think I've made my thoughts clear. I don't think Finger has a squeeze in it. Did he break him? No, it's add out. So it's add in Djokovic's favor. This is a very physical match. So you are a short. You're trying to provoke here, and you're saying now I'm promoting Railtown. I think by promoting that you mean that I'm being paid by the company to get your shorts in trouble. I'm not being paid for it. I'm doing it for free. I hope you get your ass handed to you when Railtown opens up $2 or $3. I hope it's very uncomfortable for you and your ilk. You're the only one who said sell gameplay and you got money back. Oh, all right. Maybe. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't see it as a competition. Everybody's trying to do their best. And some days are diamonds, some days are gold. 43 cents to 43, 43.01 to 43.02. So what? I don't have level 2. So what's going on here? They're trying to hide from you the size of the bid. I don't think 3,500 at 0.4301 is the real bid. I think there's a bigger bid, maybe at 43 cents or maybe at 42.5, 42 cents, but they don't want you to see it. They don't want you to know how much buying interest there is. Now it's advantage Mueller. This is the longest game ever. I hope Djokovic can do it. He slides. He got it cross court. Djokovic, that's where he's a champion. That is where he is a champion. Others would have given up. And now he's back to deuce. All right, so DB's here to cause trouble. You don't know his name. Unfortunately, there's a fight now between you and him to promote your favorite stocks. No, there's not. It's not. I'm calling it the way I see it. There's no fight. And I'm not promoting my stock. Whatever you say about Ham, you can say about Ham, he can defend himself. I'm not in a, that's what you're trying to do here. You're trying to make it an equal choice that buying G-Bucks or buying Finger or buying MLSS or buying uh, GDC or ZJYL, Railtown's just another one of those. And it's not. Railtown is well, talking to you is like talking to a brick wall. Railtown is a stock which by the way, I think Ham's gonna at some point know all about it, because his one of his large investors is all over Railtown. I don't know if he's told Ham that, but I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. But it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to be in a fight. You're trying to break people up so that they see it as this stock, Railtown, is another castaway like the rest. It's not a squeeze play, although I can sense that you're trapped in it. Railtown is going to go on its own motion. Railtown doesn't need, I'm not even sure he's aware that the guy that, Corey Brandolini, I'm not even sure he's aware of my name. He might know it, because I think I asked to talk to him at one point, if possible, as due diligence. But I've never spoken to him. Never spoken to him. So you're just here to be a, I'm going to leave it alone. But you're a short. And I recognize it. I hope other people recognize it. Marty Party. Wow, Marty Party. Time to party, Marty. Party. It's time to party, Marty Party. We can go to an arty, fartsy party and have bad wine and bad cheese as we look at art. That's great, Marty. That's great, Marty. Bob S. is already up $25,000, and this is why I'm taking so long to point out what's going on with the emotions. They're trained to do this. They're taught to do this. It's going to pour. It's going to rain. 25 grand is a lot of money. For me, I would love it. I'd be yay. And maybe they want you to go take that 25 grand and go into a different stock, and he wants you to think it's some sort of no. 25 grand's just the beginning. Just the beginning. I really mean that. If you can resist the urge to take profits, I think you'll be happier. So Djokovic lost that game. And this is where he stands out against other players. It comes to his turn to serve. He's already up 40 love. He's not letting it bother him. He had a chance to get a break multiple times. That was a long game. And other players would lose the next game. He's not losing this game. And he won it four straight serves. Bob S., 32 cents. Awesome. So, Bob, you're up 25 grand now. I should be able to figure out how many shares you have. I don't have, you gave it to me. I just don't have it written down here. But anyway, if you're up 25 grand now, I can't come up with a formula in my head. All I can tell you is it's at 43 cents now. That stock's going to be $4.30. So call it $4.32. That means you're going to have a $4 profit, I believe. You know, obviously I'm making a prediction, not a promise, but everybody here is going to try to get you to sell because they're going to have some scheme that if these investors all come over and they're in, we can do this financial manipulation. This is not what's happening here. This is not what's happening here. Happy Canada Day, Meta Materials and Canaccord. Yeah, I don't know if was Meta Materials involved, Canaccord involved with Meta Materials. I don't personally, I don't get warm and fuzzy feelings that Canaccord is involved because I think Canaccord works with the shorts. But every Wall Street firm that's out there with these low price stocks accommodates the shorts. It's good business. But I continue to tell you, Railtown has, it's funny. They're not only guys that have created a specific AI software development product, which answers a true need because they are software developers. They know what it's like. They got it done first. It's proprietary. It's closed, and it's a huge market. So by getting that done, they just don't belong down here with the shorts. The shorts are going to get caught out because they just believe they can make money on every company down here. It's not going to be the case. I don't feel sorry for them because maybe it'll blow up one or two of these guys that work out at the gym and pretend to be financial geniuses. But it's not going to blow up anybody of any significance. Their game will go on. But I want their game to go on without us. I want us to be out of there, gone. And, the gentleman up there, never mind, I'm not going to comment. The price hit $44.90. I didn't know that. Wow, there it is, $44.90. Wow. Hey, Donna. Hey, you're right, Donna. Or Ryan. The names are back. It's great. I like this. So PJ 135 is now 50,000. So here, PJ, I'm not long run. Later this year, what's the word? The omens. That's not the word I want. The tides. There's a word came in and out of my head, but anyway, the signals may be great for Finger, and I'm not saying anything bad about it at all. I'm just saying over the next 2 weeks, 2 months, you got a 10x in Railtown, give or take. And I think that's a prediction, so I could be wrong on it, on the magnitude, but I think I'm going to be correct that the price of Railtown per share is going to be repriced once they make the announcement of the acquisition. It is an accretive, out of the gate, acquisition. It's big. It changes the company. So I think you're going to be happy with that. I would go all in, but I appreciate that you're making a decision the way you are. But I would go all in. It's as simple as this. To me. Now that's my conviction. If you don't share it, you don't share it. And that's fine. That is fine. But I'm trying to let you know where I stand. And I'll be able to, once the stock moves, I'll move on to other stories. I'll still be there for it. The main thing is I'm going to have to try to make sure, like a Australian cattle dog, I'm going to have to make sure that the wolves and the opportunists don't come in and peel you off to go to the next COSM or the next GNSE or the next Vocal or the next whatever piece of shit comes along. It's got this and it's got that. It's got AI and it's got a big short position and they're going to make it run, and they're investing in gold and they're going to have Bitcoin, and on top of that, it's going to have one big, beautiful bill inside of it. And you know what? Donald Trump's granddaughter is going to be on the board. And then they're going to bring in, I don't know, they're going to bring in Bulgaria is going to join in, and it'll be just the greatest story. You got to run to it. I'm going to have to fight so hard to make sure you just stay where you are. Railtown is not unless, if the story changes, and we'll be alert to that, but I don't expect that. Railtown isn't a stock to trade. It may be a stock to buy. Get it right, sit tight. Maybe it may be a stock to buy and go read the comics and do the crossword puzzles for the next 18 months. It's that kind of stock. But I think it's great that you did that. I really commend you, PJ. I really commend you. How to unlock am I that far behind? How to unlock an iPhone? Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right, Ryan. Ham has always said, buy the dip, sell the rip. And I think Ham is also made it clear that he doesn't cotton to the diamond hands idea. And I think over time, over many situations, he's made it clear that when the stock's up, you should take money off the table. So, yeah, I don't buy that he never says so. I just don't buy that. But on the other hand, it's how it comes across. Communication is a two-way thing. And, the feedback's really interesting that I think it was Brandon gave. Hey, John, how are you? They're about Finger and G-Bucks. Okay, about those two stocks. There's no question that in both cases, those two cases, the stocks never achieved the liftoff where he would have been giving you indications to sell. And, you have to appreciate the consistency, and then it's up to you to understand that this is his perspective, and he is consistent with it on both of these stocks so far. But it still means, you have to make your own decisions, of course. I don't know what to say. I owned some G-Bucks thinking that it had these triggers. I don't really want to go over my questioning of that situation. I'd rather not get into that. And Finger, early on, I really believed Finger was a short squeeze. I've pissed off Cindy Lou Who because she feels like I'm blaming it on a dead man. But that's not the case. I think Lou was an actor in the popping of the bubble, but I think it was Frank Benedetto and Gus Fliakos, whatever the guy's name is at COSM. But it could have been other people. It's that the shorts, the puppet masters, have the money and they're going to have strategies to fight back. And one of the strategies is to keep us constantly in this emotional, it's a win for retail, rah, rah. Let them do the rah, rah. Let them be shirts and skins, blue and red, and treat it like a basketball game. I want you to become investors and take it seriously. And Railtown is here unexpectedly, I admit, although I've been looking at Railtown now 10 months, 9 months. I think Railtown is the one that gets you out of all this crap. And I really, it's going to be a change in your electrical wiring of your brain to constantly trade this or that. I'm hoping Railtown gives you an account and you can take 0.1% of your money. And if you want to trade these other stocks and keep yourself interested, because the biggest money made is set it and forget it. The big, huge wealth made in real estate. Do you think, I don't know what it's worth now, but do you think if Donald Trump had bought and sold Trump Tower 5 or 6 times a year, he'd still be wealthy? He bought the real estate, built the tower, and kept it. And that's Railtown. Ham always says to take your initial investment off the table as the stock rises. Yes, I think that's true. I think that's true. I think that is what he says. I sold my covered calls and bought more RLAIF. Wow, you did that? Unbelievable. You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable. That's great, Brandon. I'm up 15K in Railtown, not even thinking of selling for a much higher price. I'm just trying to get across, Railtown's not a trade. And that's why I take exception to what that other gentleman said. I'm not in some competition. Other people out there may be giving you ideas to trade. Other people came on my audience, which I was more than happy with, and now it's some sort of competition. I'm not being possessive. I'm just saying this is Railtown's not a trade. It's not a short-term trade. I think you're going to get 10x in the short run, 12x, 15x. And if you decide to trade, you decide to trade. If you decide, like Daniel says, to take your original money off the table, those are all strategies. But I also know a strategy sometimes is to concentrate your decision and hold. And it doesn't always happen, happens very rarely. But when it happens, it can change your account dramatically. And for the rest of your life, you're never come back. I mean, using Julie's example, I think it was Julie. I thought she had 117. No, 114, sorry. Why did I say 117? Anyway, Julie will update me on what she has, or I'll go back and look. 114, yeah, I got it right. But anyway, she could be worth a lot of money just by holding Railtown. She doesn't have to trade. She doesn't have to listen to this guy, that guy, that guy saying that guy's good. There's a fight going on. She just can throw it all away, and she can read her Emily Dickinson. And I, my Robert Frost. Oh, he's tired. It's the heat. The heat is killing Djokovic. And he is tired. And he is... Oh, it's a tiebreaker.
See by that reaction, disappointed to make an unforced error.
It's a tiebreaker.
Djokovic under a little bit of pressure at 1-2.
He is under a little bit of pressure. He is under a little bit of pressure. The Joker. The Joker. Second set tiebreaker. Yay! The Joker. 38 years old.
13th place, 3-2, Djokovic.
10th of this set. Making 77% of his first serves. 23 for 23. And the first serve has gone in for Djokovic. Just brilliant numbers.
All right, Mueller. All right, Mueller. Double fault. I don't like rooting against somebody, but I got to root for the Joker. You've got 20 more years, Mueller. Double. A mini break.
Felt that it's a significant risk for Muller to be hitting that second serve at 116 miles an hour. It's paid off a couple of times, but didn't pay off then.
He sounds Australian.
Djokovic, that mini break.
Maybe not.
Just a reminder, the roof will come over at the end of this. We're going to be finishing this match, whatever the light does.
So everybody else, see how they do it for Djokovic? They're going to close the roof after his match so everyone else is cool and he's hot.
Roof goes across.
They're always against Djokovic. But he doesn't complain. I do for him. All right. 2 breaks. All right, Joker.
Runway traffic has continued in terms of momentum.
5-2, Djokovic.
Djokovic.
Djokovic's wife, well, she's had enough of this set. I'm sure her husband has as well.
I hate this set. It's going on and on and
For
on.
these 2 points.
She's great. She's a perfect wife, mother, friend, partner. Oh. No, Joker. You give one back. He's tired. That's why he's doing the drop shot. He's tired. That's why he did the drop shot. That's very bad. Unforced error. All right, he's gonna serve out wide. going to be one of those, and it's not high odds. Yeah, it's not good. So now I'm not excited anymore. Into the body. Very hard to see. Ah, they give them all back. They're on serve again.
And loses 2 of them in a row from 5-2 up in the breakup.
Damn it.
Matches.
5-4 Djokovic.
Bit tight. Couple of slice backhands. He didn't give enough air.
He could have won the set.
Low margin for error. On serve.
I think he's feeling tired.
Not so easy to pick the ball up on return of serve with the light fading.
Joker could lose this match.
One big serve here and he'll have a set point himself. Line.
At 5-all.
Took this forehand on. Right into the corner.
No, this isn't good.
Going out wide in this.
He's
juice box a
tired.
lot.
That's why he did those stupid drop
Trying to
shots.
open up the court.
All right, good.
Djokovic was
Can we
just
have another double?
cheating towards that forehand side.
Didn't miss by much. Does he go big on the second serve?
No, he's not going to go big. It's coming. It's going to be. There. Joker's in control. No drop shot. Joker's in control.
80 points. Didn't look like either player wanted to go for the big shot.
A 6-5 Djokovic.
All right, just give an ace. Just an ace, right down the point. Right down the point. Here comes an ace. He's dead tired. It's the heat. Right down the tee there. Nope. Oh, good. Good. He missed it.
Well, that is an interesting play to serve and volley. Really against most of his instincts.
This is making me nervous.
Throwing in a bit of surprise there when he's been serving like this.
This is making me nervous.
Yeah, looked up and he was volleying. And that is just plain and simple a difficult ball to play. Muller did well to get it over the backhand side. Plenty of topspin. Yelena's feeling what her husband is, which is...
I'm nervous. I can't stand it. I've made money on finger MLSSG Bucks Knicks. I will sell on the way out and get my money.
He's lost his last
Yeah, there you
3
go.
points
There you
while
go.
serving Djokovic.
And those ideas, most of them you owe to Ham. So all right. All right.
7-6 Djokovic.
All right, Joker. Just one cross-court return away. One cross-court turn away. Come on, the Joker. Come on, the Joker. Yes! Is there another fault in there? He's just going to be right down to the body, simple serve. Good return. Another return. Uh-oh. Tension City. Ah!
3 slice backhands
That was not good. Why are you so tentative, Djokovic? Why are you so tentative? Not like you.
That Djokovic would go to the slice.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Best double-handed backhand most people have ever seen.
Why would he go to the slice? What's going on? What is going on? Oh, now they're clapping for that guy. Stop clapping for Mueller. And whatever you do, don't mention the war. It's so hot out there. Djokovic is dying.
8-7, Müller.
Mueller.
About to steal this set.
It's so hot.
That it would be against the run of play would be an understatement.
It's too hot for Joker. All right, you need an ace here, or at least a winner. He's going to go to the outside. It's low risk, low odds. Yeah. Full. He won it. And everyone's cheering. I'm depressed. I'm sorry, Djokovic. 38 years old. You didn't need this. 9-7. He had it in his control. I'm starting to dislike Mueller. Mueller. All right, let's see where the stock prices are. WOLF is 84 cents. Railtown is 43.02. Tesla is down $14. G-Bucks is up 9 cents. GTII is 13.5. Railtown, I don't have a good feeling about Djokovic being able to win. Darn it. He needed that. Anyway. Let's move on and not think about Djokovic. All right, Matthew Mall, good job. You can always go back after it goes up, but I don't think you're going to want to. That's the blem. That is the blem. Bob S. Wow, Bob. There's a lot of people here I'm going to have to call ma'am and sir after this is done. Hopefully when Apple buys the company or something. Tea leaves. That's good. What's my email? Farrand Balanced. I haven't checked it in a while, but Farrand Balanced at Gmail. I'll show it to you. I shall show it to you. I feel so badly for Djokovic. He should have won that set. Darn it, Joker. Going to make his legs tired, and Sinner doesn't have any problem at all in his quarter. It's the heat. How about Trump going to ban shorting? He's not going to ban. It's already illegal. Naked shorting is already illegal. That's what Reg Show is all about. And he appointed Adkins. He appointed Adkins. He appointed Adkins. All right, let's see how this is going, this nightmare of Djokovic. Oh, they're closing it now. Why didn't they close it before? He'll recover. He'll recover. If he really wants the championship, he'll recover. Trump's not going to do anything about this. We got to face reality. Trump's trying to avoid World War III, and he's making trade deals. He's appointed Adkins, and I think Adkins was on the side of the obfuscation, the delay, the buy more time for the criminals. That's my judgment on his previous term. And shorting's already illegal. He's not gonna do anything. Trump's not gonna do anything. Yeah, he'd do demos at that conference, but I'll try to get him. I'll try to get him to come on here, but he can't talk to anybody until material information is disclosed to the world, to the public. He can't talk. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Yeah. Yes, I was listening to Djokovic, and I know you don't care about Djokovic, but he's 38 years old. He's got 24 Grand Slams, and he's trying to get his 25th. And he's going to retire at some point. Donna, wow. Donna. Oh, Donna. That's great. That is great. That is awesome. That is awesome. Naked shorting is not making America great again, but it's MEGA. We're all about MEGA. Make Israel great again. I mean, you are right. You are right. But how much money is going offshore without paying taxes? And so the market has closed. Some viewers the other day said Rail reached back out to them and confirmed. Yeah, the IR department. I haven't called into there because I guess I'm trying to keep an arm's length. I don't know, Jennifer disclosure, as I call it. I just don't have a relationship with them. And for now, I'd like to keep it that way. So I can say that, I guess I'm going to show you something because as John points out, no tennis. He's obviously a golfer or a football fan or maybe I don't have it. I thought I had it. There it is. Okay. Okay. I'm going to show this to you instead. If it'll come up. If it'll come up. Makes me lose my temper. So this is from a year ago. This is 1 year ago.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris Young. I run the originations group here at Echelon, along with my partner, Steve Serbavin. We are pretty excited to be introducing Railtown AI to you. We have Corey Brandolini here today, the CEO, and Marwan Haddad, the CTO. We have known Corey for many a year, but we have really gotten involved over the last year with Railtown. We think it's a very exciting
I don't know what's happening.
story. It's publicly traded under RAIL. The most simple way to describe it is a debugging platform using AI for software development. But I will allow Corey and Marwin to get into the nitty-gritty of that. But again, very exciting news story using generative AI that I think will do very well. So Corey, over to you.
Thanks, Christine.
Take notes.
Can you hear me? Am I on?
I can hear you.
Thanks, Christine. That's a nice introduction. Thanks, everyone, for joining in today to hear about all of these wonderful AI companies. Thanks again to Echelon for organizing this nice virtual event. Great. So quick introduction. My name is Corey Brandolini. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Railtown AI. With me today is Marwan Haddad, CTO and co-founder of Railtown AI as well. I'm going to start with a little bit of a verbal glossary right in the beginning. Rob did such a great job giving some great descriptions about the industry and the space at large. But for this presentation, a little verbal glossary. When we refer to our machine, we're talking about our AI. When we refer to co-pilots, it's description of an AI assistant that works with our user and helps our user do a significant amount of the heavy lifting, dealing with a lot of the mundane tasks that our customer, which is a software developer, has to go through to allow that developer to accelerate his productivity. And thirdly, when you hear the term generative AI, and it's used quite generally across this industry, from our perspective, generative AI is giving a humanistic output to what you're doing. So it gives your co-pilot a humanistic response to your workflow. So just a little glossary there. I'm going to actually start with investment highlights right in the very beginning here, so to give you quick coverage on our company and who we are. We have a seasoned team here of co-founders and senior developers that have got multiple decades in building complex enterprise software and AI solutions. We also have a seasoned capital markets team between myself and our CFO that has spent decades in the capital markets industry. Also, 100% of our machine and our AI has been developed, built from the ground up here in Vancouver, BC. It's 100% owned intellectual property. We have multiple provisional patents along what we've built. And we've also been, one of the things I think was important to note that in Rob's opening presentation is, time spent on your machine and your modeling. And so we started this process about 4 years ago when we were writing our white paper, and then we started building out our machine and training it since then. So we've had over 3.5 years of training our machine to get to the point of what I think Rob talked about is an optimization level that you can actually be confident that it's giving the results back to your customers. So we've got years of building and training our machine. Obviously, we're in the software space, so this is a very large and expanding vertical market. We know there's nothing bigger out there than software. Software runs the world. Everybody needs software. It's obviously one of the most important things that gets us through our day-to-day lives. To date, we've got a very large beta testing community that's been very crucial as we built out our machine to train it. And we also have no barrier to entry. One of the things we did in early days is we made sure that our application and our AI was fully integrated with all of the best-in-class tools that developers use today to build and maintain and launch software applications. We're also a first mover in this area. We started to look at applying AI to software engineering many years ago. And it was a passion play for my team and I to get to this point where we could build something out that would help remove a lot of the mundane tasks and also the problems that come along with building and maintaining software, and applying an artificial intelligence agent to that workflow was something that was a very much part of our DNA, what we wanted to achieve. So we've been working at this for some time to get here. So when we looked at this space, We even actually had early conversations with Microsoft in the very, very beginning about, what their thought processes and how they were going to see AI coming out to, to their marketplace. And they were quite interested in what we were doing, so much so that they, we quickly accelerated our relationship with them to as a full Microsoft partner. As you see there in the slide, we're also now a certified Microsoft partner. We've been with them since the onset in the very, very beginning. It's been very helpful as we rolled out and developed and built our application. We've also reached just recently what's called Microsoft co-sell status, which puts Railtown in a position where other Microsoft sales reps and other Microsoft partners can now sell our application on behalf of Railtown, which is obviously very exciting for us. Gives us a great go-to-market to enterprise customers without cost on our side. And in the past year, we've also established a strong enterprise reselling partner out of Microsoft. And we're working on an MSP strategy, a managed solutions provider solution, where Railtown will be bundled in as an Azure end-to-end AI dev solution, along with one of their flagship products, as you may have heard of, called GitHub Copilot and Application Insights on Azure DevOps. So we're really excited to see how that rolls out over the next few quarters. We're also a battle-tested solution. One of the things, again, Rob brought up in the very beginning is when you're looking at AI is, what stage is it? How has it gotten through its training? Where is it today? How is it functioning? And is it actually commercial ready? So we've obviously been at it for, like I said, almost 4 years on building. We've actually even dog-fooded our own application with our AI, basically having our AI help us build our actual application, so that we went to market with it. We spent a lot of time battle tested. We're also excited to say 2 of our first 3 applications, or co-pilots, if you will, we've commercially launched on the Microsoft marketplace. Very specifically, as part of our rollout in partnership with Microsoft, we wanted to put our first 2 products up there for their teams to look at. And so we're excited to say we've actually pushed our first 2 products to the Microsoft marketplace. We are a SaaS solution, so obviously there's a very high SaaS value, very high SaaS solution margins as well. So easy to go to market and with very little barrier on those. As we're also a CEC listed company under the symbol RAIL, and we have just recently filed for our OTC listing. So what is Railtown? So in the very beginning, I gave you a quick little snapshot at the top. We're a generative AI co-pilot assistant to software developers with a very specific goal to help software developers improve productivity, drive down inefficiency, and improve product quality, lower costs, and accelerate engineering and team velocity. As you'll see in the slides coming up, a significant amount of time, devs' time, is spent problem solving. On average, you'll see developers write maybe 10 to 20 lines of code per day, which might take up 20% of their time, and the rest of the day is spent debugging, problem solving, and managing the overall application. Our goal at Railtown was to build a system that can pick up all of that bulk work in order for the developer to be more productive and putting his time into writing more code and deploying more of their builds. So where is the problem that Railtown's tackling? It's quite a big one. To date, and we've lived this, we've experienced ourselves over the many years we've been building software, is that about 40% of a dev's time is fixing problems. And so if you were to take that into real hard dollars, if your company is spending $1 million a quarter on software development, about 400K of that is going into dealing with the issues that arise as you're building and maintaining and running an application. And this could be everything from fixing a bug, finding a bug, searching out what the bug's doing, how it's affecting your overall application. Is it possibly causing a threat to your personal information? Is it opening up exposure to credit cards? Anything above is the application going to crash? For example, we're all using Zoom right now, and there'll be a whole team at Zoom that's working around the clock to make sure that this application is running so it doesn't crash in the middle of our streams. This has been done by manpower to date, and it's still being done by manpower, is dealing with these issues that arrive any minute of the day. I'm sure we all experienced the Rogers communications crash a few years ago, a simple bug bringing that the Rogers network down to the ground, which not only costs a significant amount of dev time, but obviously the monetary damages to the brand and costs that have to go out for that. On the right, there was a report written not too long ago about that Stripe actually wrote, as you know, big payment capture company. They had reached out to many of their other fellow companies in the Valley, and it recognized the same issue that we all do, is you're looking at about 42% in productivity loss dealing with software that's not poorly written, but maybe just the logic behind it or something that's happened that's causing the application not to run. And so again, this is a real life experience that we've had our entire life in software development, and our goal was to build something in order to tackle this and drive that cost down. So when we look at a customer in the face, we say, if you're spending 40% of your dollars debugging, add Railtown to your workflow, to your tool sets that you're using, and watch that number drop dramatically. And we will also track that velocity through our dashboards, where you can see how your developers are now producing more builds and deploying more releases at a faster level. And with our system being able to track and pick up all of the issues, point directly to where they lie, allows the developer to do a discovery process in a much quicker fashion. So again, this big number, again, some people will say it's even higher than 40%. We've seen it around this number ourselves through experience. We've built 3 main products to tackle this right out of the get-go. And our first 2 have been commercialized. One is which is called the Root Cause Analysis Copilot, which is an early error detection system, which we find that if our AI can capture and recognize an issue before it becomes an issue to the end user, you're saving about 15x of discovery and debugging time to attack it right away, which was where the core application was built all around, and I'll explain that in a minute. The other product that we've released is we call the Release Notes Copilot, and this is where our AI is also using natural language processing to translate what our root cause analysis copilot is finding and discovering, and translate that into descriptable English, so that when something arises, our copilot will immediately send an English description to the developing team as to what it's found, where it's found it, what it thinks it is, and how, and which way you can address that as quickly as possible. And thirdly, at the top, which is our one of our big granddaddy products that we're going to be launching in the next month into beta, which is called our Scrum Master Chat Copilot. And this is a knowledge-based solution that our machine has been learning on in order to give our developers a humanistic and knowledge-based response on a communicative level directly to the application. We're really excited about the launch of this product in the next quarter. So how do we do it? Couple of things. I think that again, Rob and the previous gentleman talked about is about data and how you get data and how important data is. Without data, AI doesn't exist, as we all know. And so I wanted to just break down very quickly, the differences between things like large language models that are trained on the internet, if you will, and what we call ours is a targeted language model. Our machines are trained on very specific data sets, and these are each individual company's own build data. So in these boxes up on the left, and these are, again, privacy and security about data is extremely important. And so we built our application from the ground up in the very beginning to deal with this specifically. So our AI, each one of these boxes would be, you could consider these as somebody's software application. And so attaching Railtown to your tool set to build your application, our AI is immediately learning individualistically about each company's own application. So it becomes almost very personal to each company, as opposed to how this AI react to this company's application or this company's application, because everybody's data is different. So we very specifically taught our machine how to train on everybody's individual private data that is not available to the greater world, like companies like ChatGPT and Bard and others that again are trading on what's free and available on the internet, as opposed to proprietary intellectual property data that's protected for all the reasons we know. And so that way, when customers use Railtown, its machine acts as almost an engineer within that company's team and behaves and has a very personalized touch to each company. So it's different for every single application.
Another
yeah, sorry, go ahead, Mark. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Mark. Yeah.
Make about this before Corey moves on to the next slide.
Sorry.
Corey, is Bard and ChatGPT are trained on public internet data, but it's static to year 2021.
Yes.
And the advantage of a platform like Railtown, where we connected the developers' data between logs, tickets, and the deployments, we have a great platform behind the system that is an orchestration platform that takes care of data security and privacy for each company, but it also keeps the model up to date, updated as the data comes in. We're updating our model and making this data available to our customers so they can utilize that insights and info right away. And it takes a lot of effort and a big platform and architecture to make sure this is happening at real time, and orchestration is a big part of having a successful data platform.
Yeah, that's really well said, Marwan. Sorry, I should probably cover that as well. One of the things too that is about when you're building a machine to do something, you also have to create a large ingestion engine, which is something that the company is built from the ground up. Do you want to just touch on that quickly, Marwan, as well?
Yeah, so this is like year 4 for us, almost year 5. So the foundation part for us was building a large-scale data ingestion that can scale with time.
Yes.
Is able to process, ingest customer project data in real time, and be able to securely save and process that data, which helps us build the right AI co-pilots and models on top of that.
Yeah, well said, thank you. So product Copilot number 1 that was released a couple months back as we pushed it up to Microsoft's cloud. This was the very beginning of Railtown, and it's our training. And again, getting back to some of the highlights that Rob talked about is, the different forms of machine learning and AI that you use to apply to very specific applications. And we're obviously a vertical application that's very specific to software development. So in the very early days, we started out by just training our machine through reinforcement learning, supervised learning, semi-supervised learning, in order to even understand what a bug is. What is a bug, and can you call out a bug? Can it capture a bug and say, this is an issue that we've seen in the system, and what does that mean? And from that, then you would train it to understand where the bug is affecting in the overall application, which pages it could possibly affect, and where in the application is this going to be an issue. Should then train the machine to understand what language it's speaking. Is it speaking Java? Is it speaking C#? Is it speaking JavaScript? What languages is it speaking? Thirdly, then train the machine to understand exactly where that originated from, which server it's sitting on, what developer produced that ticket to that build. And so once our machine got to the point that it understood holistically, in as Marwan said, in real time, what this issue is, how it originated, where it lies, what it's affecting, it immediately gave the team a deep insight into the root cause of where this issue is coming from. And if you're not an engineer, one thing to note, there's a lot of information in an issue, in a bug, in an error that starts to develop knowledge around. And so, and I'll pass on to Marwan here in a second, but the process of actually investigating to find out where an issue lies within an application is immensely time consuming. And in our past experiences with other company, we've had actually a red light in the bullpen that would go off as soon as a bug would arise, and all the developers would have to stand up and stop working. And then there would be this discovery phase that the team lead or the CTO or the VP of Eng would start to go down the rabbit hole to quickly find out what this is. Is it catastrophic? Is it going to cause a credit card exposure? And so on and so on. And this is one of those tasks that come about that cause that 40% of non-productivity time. Marwan, if you have any thoughts around that you want to add, please.
Yeah, and what Corey is referring to, and you probably know about this, called the triage process. Yep. And with that Railtown, we use 4 or 5 different systems, and it takes us a couple of hours to investigate and get to the bottom of a problem. Using Railtown AI, this is down to few minutes of an alert that is pushed to Slack or Teams or whatever system the team is using, with a complete analysis of the problem, which server, what impact it is. So we completely put the power back into the dev team to fix the problem very quickly and react to any issues.
Yeah, well said. And one of the things too is that the root cause copilot will also point directly to the code change that it's recognized that's caused this issue. So it really eliminates a significant amount of the dev time on this investigation and testing and retesting to find out if this is the correct fix. So it was one thing to train the machine to do all of this, which took a lot of time and a lot of training and a lot of work to get to that point that we felt it was going to capture 100% of every bug that left the developer's local machine before it got pushed to the server pipeline, that we felt confident that we could launch this out to our customer base. So it was one thing that once the machine understood that what a bug was and all of the information behind it, then we needed to translate that information into English. And so we moved along to our next product, which was called the Release Notes Copilot. And this does multiple functions in the overall application. Number one, as soon as our machine captures an issue, an exception in the application, our Release Notes Copilot will immediately translate that into descriptible English. So, and an information note will be pushed out to your team, whether they're sitting on Slack or any other service that they're using to work off of, and it'll describe exactly what it's found. It'll say the Release Note the RCA Copilot has found this bug. It's originating here. It's causing these issues, and it'll give a very clean description immediately to the dev team. So whoever is working on that very specific build of that application can quickly analyze from that description from the Release Note Copilot what's happened, and then it'll direct it back to the application to show you exactly which ticket it is, what the server it's lying on, and what language the bug has arisen in. So really, really important from a time saving. But it also does another service, and I'll let Marwan describe it, which is another big mundane task. And it also helps you rewrite and release what's called release notes to your customer base, which is a review of tickets. And Marwan, maybe you just want to give a description about that.
Absolutely. In new world, in agile development, we build the software in a continuous manner. We continue to deploy the code, the application to multiple servers, and communicating that and writing comprehensive release notes, whether it's internal for our internal communication between the team or for our users, is a repetitive task that takes a couple of hours to do per week. Using our advanced AI engine, we automatically decode what is being deployed. We look at the tickets, the logs, the machine code that we deployed, and automatically create release notes and publish them. So we make this idea of or co-lifting the effort that a dev team would have to do to deliver accurate release notes.
Great, thanks, Marwan. And so those were the first two commercial products that we launched up on the Microsoft Marketplace. Thirdly, as we talked about, is our next product, our granddaddy product, if you will, our knowledge-based product, which is our Scrum Master Chat Copilot. And this is a culmination of everything that's gone on before, and starting with our RCA, really our root cause analysis Copilot, which has to learn on the logic on the application, the knowledge behind the application. Why was it built? Who built it? What is the build about? What was the purpose of the build? What teams worked on the build? Everything behind each application and each build and each ticket behind it, there's knowledge in there, and our machine has been training on that and how to understand what it is in each team and how they build their applications, to the point now with the release of this product, dev teams will be able to communicate directly to the application on a humanistic level. So you can ask the application direct questions like, I'm seeing this work item surface multiple times today. Can you please describe to me where this issue is and what this issue is? And so now the machine or your AI assistant will now communicate directly back to you. You can ask it a multitude of questions.
Sorry, Corey, we're running over a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'll wrap it up very quickly. We've got this deck. Anybody that wants to follow up, we can follow up this in greater detail. My apologies. I didn't realize we were going so long over. Quickly, then we'll jump into the market size. How big a market is this? It's obviously a gigantic market. Software is the biggest market out there, as we know. It's only growing rapidly day to day. Currently, today, annually, about $11 billion is spent on marketing, on developer tools. Companies need tools to build software applications. It's a giant market. It's only growing day to day. What we're already recognizing is the growth of AI-assisted tools for software development. They're targeting, $300 billion in added cost to software development with AI tools. The beautiful thing about this, AI actually improves productivity. So these all become a zero cost to the company because it's elevating your productivity, which is obviously really, really important to everybody. One of the interesting reports just produced not too long ago was by GitHub CEO, which is a subset of Microsoft's, as you know. They're predicting AI-assisted developer tools are going to grow the global GDP by almost $1.5 trillion by effectively adding the productivity of 15 million developer productivity time by the use of AI tools. So obviously extremely important and valuable. Finally, one of the things we've talked about here is making money on AI. And I think Rob talked about it in the very beginning. I thought this was very topical and really important to call out right now. Just the other day, you saw that Microsoft put out a news release that they're now adding an AI co-pilot to Microsoft 365, having an AI assistant, write your formulas for Excel, help you write your Word documents. Microsoft stock went up 4% on that news alone. Obviously, the market's on. I think Rob said the train is here now. The market's moving, and there's a very perfect monetizable market that you can see directly in front of you and how Microsoft's applying that to their overall suite of Microsoft services. So thank you guys for your time. I'm sorry I went over. As we all know, there's a lot to talk about in everybody's company. Certainly really appreciate your time. We're here for follow-up calls, and certainly we can happily take follow-up meetings as well.
Catchy tune. Mag, anyway, Mag 7. I guess you could argue that I'm going to be wrong about the market correction, but I warned you months, even a year ago, longer, that when this blow off top comes, and we're in it now, we're starting to go to highs, that everyone will change their tune. Oh, this is great. It's going to go forever. And it's going to be time to buy puts and probably lighten up. I don't know how it's going to affect AI, because AI is so big. And you're right. It might be that these AI companies, the big ones, like the ones you list, the 7, including Tesla, AI may allow them to remain in the forefront, and it may be why their multiples are so high now. But I do think there may be also pullbacks if there's a correction. There's almost certainly will be. So we'll just have to watch it. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. So we'll have to, we have time. I don't know about Apple falling behind. That video that we listened to from Morgan Stanley, it was about data. And I have a feeling that Apple collects, I don't know, Google might collect more data than Apple, but I'm not sure. I think Apple has Siri, it has music, it has the phones, it has the eye thing, the watch thing. I think Apple collects a lot of data. So I wouldn't write off Apple right away. Maybe their internal AI build hasn't been as successful, but guess what? You go buy it. And maybe they're the ones that'll come by Railtown. As I understand it, Railtown is specifically to help developers build their technology. And I don't know where that would fit with Apple. I was listening to him. He mentioned GitHub, and I wrote down what he said. Well, sort of wrote down what he said. He said they bundle with Microsoft. Microsoft bundles in their various apps in GitHub, which is an agent, an AI tool, and I was just thinking, what if they bundled this development tool into GitHub? Of course, he didn't say that, but it would seem to be an attractive tool to add to GitHub, because then they charge monthly amounts to the developers for GitHub. Anyway, that's something we'll find more information on. It's just coming up with ideas, which I'm sure they think about ideas much more quickly than I do. Where can I find that interview? This thing is a trainer for companies' AI programs. It creates a bridge that's missing. OpenAI, Sam Altman's company, needs. They don't want to be OpenAI, and apparently they want, he calls it, I think I wrote that down, let me make sure. Maybe I didn't write it down. But they want it to be vertical. In other words, it's within the company's closed set of information. It doesn't go out on the internet. And I think that's pretty powerful. They designed it to speak with all the different developer tools from the get-go, and then also interface with the company's software. I run out of vocabulary very quickly in this, but it sounds like this tool, and he said it's been battle tested, but it's self-learning, so it learns very quickly inside the company's environment. And he talked about 2 of their first products were launched with Microsoft. Now they have 4. I think the granddaddy product, I think, is Conductor. And they're in the 3rd or 4th iteration of that already. But then you hear him talk about it. He said software development is a gigantic market. Currently, $11 billion are being spent on development tools, $11 billion. But then he went on to talk about how it's estimated that I think the way he said it will have positive value, so the net cost isn't there, but they're going to spend $300 billion in AI to develop software annually. 300 billion. And he said the benefit comes back, so it won't actually, I guess, have a negative effect on the bottom line. And then he mentioned GitHub is talking about how AI for developers could add to the gross GDP. I think grow. I didn't say gross, grow. It could grow GDP by $1.5 trillion. And he was in a hurry up, so maybe I misquoted him, but that's a huge number. And if you use 300 billion, the AI market that I'm sure they've done the studies. So if they're targeting 300 billion as a market, and I don't, to mix sources of information, use his 300 billion, use this research companies, I can't find it. They said they assumed that they achieved 3% penetration. Let's just use 3%. I think that's very low. That's why I find it a little silly. But let's use 3% that they capture of that. And remember, it just has to be shown in the models to get oh gosh. Okay, so put this here, 300 times 0.03. So that's a $9 billion revenue potential. And again, I emphasize, this isn't currently in this market space. It's not about how much revenue do you do now? Prove it to me. It's what can you project? Well, at 9 billion, remember also, I have credible information that bankers and VC guys and et cetera are valuing AI, early stage AI companies at 150 times revenue. The research report used 12x. I showed you the study of 91 companies at 25x of revenue, and those M&A deals were accomplished over the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know what to do here to be conservative. Should I use 12 or 25 or 100? Let's use 12 times. Use that. That was that research report. Let's just be, I think it's way too conservative. So that's 100. That's a huge number, though. That means the company's worth $100 billion. And I think it's possible. And we'll divide it by, there's 140 million shares now. The research expanded it to 170. I don't know. Let's go to 250 million shares, just to really try to be as conservative as possible. That's just hard to believe. That is hard to believe. I'll write it down. That is hard to believe. Let me just try it a different way. just to make sure I haven't screwed up. 432 times 250, 12312. Nope, that's it. So this goes back to when I've given you the projection that this can go from 40 cents to $4 to $40. And who knows, I said, maybe AMD buys it for $400 a share. And I admitted that's months, years away, and it's completely pie in the sky right now. But look at that. He just said that the AI software developers market is 300 billion a year. It's going to add 300. It's going to grow to 300 billion a year. If they get 3% of that market, that's $9 billion in revenue times 12. That gives 100 billion in market in valuation of the company. And if you use 250, you use double the shares they have, almost double the shares they have right now, gives you $400 a share target. That's why I'm saying, and I'm not trying to be, overly hypester or anything. I'm just saying this company has solved a problem that is massive. And if it just captures a tiny bit of the huge projected market and it gets a 12x multiple, not 100, not 150, it's big. And who would be a buyer? I didn't realize it till I just listened that GitHub, I guess that's part of Microsoft, GitHub bundles a bunch of tools in their tool that they sell to developers. Well, what if they put this in there in that bundle and it became part of the cost? I think Microsoft would pay $100 billion all day long. But who knows? That stuff gets way out into. I just made a series of assumptions and a series of projections, which I cannot. I don't have data. I don't have studies. We don't. But we'll get more data. But for now, my target is this goes to $4 or $5. That's right now the target, and does it fairly quickly. And for the people in it, don't listen to these guys that get you. They want you to be hot money. I don't want you to be hot money. I want your account to grow to a good size. You get comfortable with it, and you don't have to discuss it with anybody. And maybe we can put it, once we're there, maybe we can do some things for income. But I actually think Railtown could be a stock that you buy. And I don't know. It's just because he talked about Microsoft and GitHub. But if GitHub views Conductor as extremely valuable and Microsoft has all these users, maybe they give stock for the company and maybe it's worth $400. Obviously, that's la la land right now. Maybe it's some other number, but I guess my purpose to show the la la land is I don't want you flipping out of this like DB did for a few pennies. Well, I made a small profit on Railtown and now I'm jumping into G-Bucks. Stop. We're not going to jump anymore. We're not going to be guppies at the bottom of an aquarium that's just lost all of its water. We're not going to be flapping around, I hope. Tesla, I bet, already has some of its own. But yes, Tesla, and I want to introduce the company. I don't know if they give a introduction fee, but there's a company I'm working with in the software space I'd like to introduce it to. But just think about so much out there. Did you hear what he was saying? For me, for example, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to work a spreadsheet, particularly I can do some basic things on Apple, but I can't make an interactive spreadsheet. Other friends of mine can do it. I don't know what it is about me. It's just not my interest level. Well, did you hear him? You can say it. You can talk to this thing and say, could you create this and that and that? Just imagine if people could create their own accurate spreadsheets just by saying what they wanted, and the AI filled it all in. It would be amazing. I'd pay for that. Hell, I'd pay $100 a month for that. Well, I hope it's only $10 a month. I knew at Microsoft, their new platforms are interchangeable modules that build off of you. It's a trainer. This is why Microsoft stopped all major builds. They are changing the data center design. I don't quite understand what you're saying, but I think I understand it. So instead of Microsoft building it out, they're going to let these interchangeable AI products train themselves, and they'll essentially grow their own LLM, I guess. Yeah, stay in touch, Lawrence, because your knowledge, I'd love to get you on here and talk about it. Between this and quantum compute, I always make fun of these English changes, but then they become part of the language. I remember making fun of PC, but then everyone talks PC. So anyway, yeah, between this and quantum compute, oh, wow, you got something here. I think so. I think there's something here that's really big. And that's why I'm being such a jerk to talk about it so much. What's going on with VGLS? I don't know. What is? Do you know something? And why does it interest you? Why does it interest you? All I know is the filings are current. This is going to be what heck of a bid for this. This is going to be what heck of a bid for this. Jackpot. Yeah, I think it is kind of a jackpot thing. I think there's other AI stories out there, don't get me wrong, but there's going to be room for a lot. But this one, which helps developers, imagine all the new software and AI development going on. That's what this is. It's big. Plantier didn't have revenue for 3 or 5 years. One of my sources of information says that guy's the Antichrist. Do you think that's true? I don't take it seriously, but it's amazing the stuff that pops up in your they bring things to you. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the Antichrist, but Plantier didn't have revenue for 3 or 5 years. Exactly. And I don't know the pattern of Plantier's raises, but I'm sure there was the initial friends and family, the founders put in their money, then friends and family, then angel, and then they went up the ladder of Wall Street. And what Wall Street's done now, they capture all of these, and it all stays in one long channel. Let's say it's a Morgan Stanley guy that they know. Well, the Morgan Stanley guy is going to introduce him to a girl out in Palo Alto who has a company that does angel rounds or VC rounds. He'll work with her to get that next funding. They'll have some meetings, and then she works with the guy at Morgan Stanley, and they continually feed in information in this tight channel. And then the next thing, they'll go to a Madison Dearborn or I'm trying to think of other bigger funds that nobody's ever heard of, and they'll do the next rounds, and then it'll come big enough that Morgan Stanley can do some merging with its portfolio companies, and then it gets really big. They might IPO it like they did Facebook or they did other companies, or they'll sell it. But if they IPO it, it's going to go in everybody's IRA retirement account. It's going to go to retail after they've gone up stage by stage by stage, collecting fees all the way. That's one of the reasons they've destroyed the over-the-counter in the NASDAQ market and the competing smaller investment banks. They've destroyed it so they get all the revenue. This is an issue of concentration of power and wealth in the hands of very few men on Wall Street. I know there's women there. They're just there to meet the quotas. There's no woman running anything worth a shit. There's a woman in front of Fidelity. But anyway, let's not get off on that. It's just, it's men. I don't want you thinking I'm being sexist. It's just men doing it. Following up yesterday, the moving as a yeah, we can work on the Nevada one. I don't think this is going to move quickly enough to be the key behind that project now. But in the future, yes. But just waiting for the money. It's nobody's fault. It's with. Well, I don't know how much I should say actually, but it's just bureaucracy, and but yeah, I think my vision is just that. I think we can be the core behind building wealth. I really do, and it may be that one. There's other things I have that I'm working on, but it's all waiting on the same capital base, which is just I don't know. I've never waited on Godot in my life, but I have waited on God to answer prayers or help. And it just seems like some things in life just work on their own time frame, and you just can't. It just gets to the point of absurdity. But yes, you're thinking exactly how I'm thinking. Danny. All right, I love it, Danny. That's a great position. That is all positions are great in Railtown, but that's a good number. I think 50 is a fantastic number, but 25 is great. If you think in terms of, I don't know, pick a number, $50 a share down the road, 25 is a great, makes you a millionaire. there's a lot of steps between here and there. Let's just focus on the $354, $455 range first. But I really commend you. I commend you. Hey, Chico is a friend of mine. Antichrist is anyone who denies Christ in the flesh. Oh, I thought it was I don't know, like the leader of the bad forces on earth. I don't know. You can tell my knowledge is I don't know. I don't want to speak for an entire faith and everybody in it, but it's never been something that I've ever heard brought up in any Catholic mass or any gathering of Catholics. So I just don't know very much about it. Ted Williams, you're up 7,400. All right. All right. Okay, let me see. Lawrence Demina, I'm concentrated. TSM chipmaker, NVIDIA, and Microsoft, and now RLAIF. All right. I think you are somebody that everybody here could benefit from because you understand what's going on. I get the big market shifting picture and the money involved. I get all that, but I don't know the compute. I don't know the compute. But I'm old enough to remember PCs. They changed the world. And I'm old enough to remember the web. That changed things. I'm older enough to I raised money for the guy that was one of the co-founders of the Carlyle Group. Long story. Raised a lot of money for a company that I brought to him that was about getting rid of the worldwide weight internationally. It was a great company, raised a bunch of money, but technology moves so quickly, and then that year 2000 crash came in. But my point is, I sense the it's not herd, that's the wrong word, but I sense the minds, the ideas, and the money, it's all getting ready to flow. That's what I sense. And Railtown's there. And NVIDIA, NVIDIA, I remember being, when it approached $1,000, I was like, oh gosh, but what is it now, 1,500? Amazing. Amazing. What made me nervous is the multiples, but now it makes sense why. The multiples of 70 times earnings, no wonder they're paying 100, 150 times revenue of the small companies. They see this huge market ahead, and I believe it, which is probably the kiss of death. When I see it, it's probably all over. So it's 5 o'clock. I wanted to go over a concept with you, and I don't know if I saved it. It's on Hugh. Well, it's 2 different places I happened upon it. And okay. Very interesting. I'll cover this in more depth because we've been on a long time, but I subscribe to David Morgan's report. It's a very detailed, long report, but and you can subscribe to it too. But his opening, as he calls it, opening thoughts, I was going to say opening paragraphs, is something I've talked about before. That one of the things going on in the United States is we've become all finance, and everything's directed to the banks, everything. And so we lose track of industry and the real world. Everything goes to China. They don't lose track of it. But everything gets hyper financialized. And that's usually the sign of the end of an empire. But you know what's weird is money still flees China. And we still, at least people that have been acclimated to the United States, I think we have 20 million, 40 million people that came in under auto pen, under the woman that had the auto pen over the last 4 years. They don't, I think, have any idea of the American ideals. But luckily, most of our ideals align with human ideals, like wanting your children to be better off than yourself, and wanting women to run everything because the world will be better when they do. That's not in the Constitution, I know. But anyway, he talks about, he calls it the Great Rebalancing. I'd never used that name. But he says the world, I think it's just the United States, it may be the world, needs less finance. I agree with that. And more real economy, commodities, oil and gas. I guess software's real economy. More work instead of just a bunch of people playing day trading. So anyway, I'll read his first page. This is David Morgan. In the modern economy, finance is no longer the bloodstream of commerce. Today, the FIRE sector, that's finance, insurance, and real estate, accounts for over 20% of GDP. I would have assumed it's more than that, making it the single largest segment of the economy. But this is not a badge of honor. Rather, it's a red flag, a signal that the world's most powerful economy is built more on financial manipulation than on productive labor, real innovation, or tangible wealth creation. Imagine instead a world where finance was returned to its rightful role as a support mechanism for commerce and industry, perhaps limited to 10% of gross domestic product. When I came up, we were trained that what we were doing was we were the capital engine of Wall Street, of not Wall Street, of the economy. And now it's all levered and derivative and counterfeited. It's all leveraged to the max so that a handful of men can get rich. And somehow be able to pull Lauren Sanchez. Okay, imagine that world. Imagine further that this leaner financial sector operated within the framework of a sound asset-backed monetary system rather than a global patchwork of fiat currencies managed by unelected technocrats. Such a world would not only be more productive and equitable, but would it be fair to women? It would also foster higher living standards, deeper innovation, and a fairer outcomes for humanity. This is not nostalgia. This is realism born from history, reinforced by economics, and demanded by the times. In 1950, the financial sector made up less than 10% of US GDP. Banks lent to businesses to build factories, expand production, and create jobs. Insurance companies pooled risk to protect capital investments. Real estate brokers facilitated housing mobility for growing families. Fast forward to today, and the sector has metasized, like cancer. Derivatives trading alone, not real lending, derivatives trading alone accounts for hundreds of trillions in notational value globally. Hundreds of trillions. I've heard it's 400 trillion. Algorithmic trading firms skim profits in milliseconds. That's what goes on. And that's what's, that question, what's the volume? To some extent, that volume you're seeing in Railtown in the United States could be that. That's what they did all the way down with collective audience and logic. Just drove it down. And all these stocks. It's hard to beat. And it's protected. It's protected by Adina Friedman and the rest of her close friends. Derivatives trading alone, not real lending, hundreds of trillions. Algorithmic trading firms skim profits in milliseconds, while entire business models exist solely to arbitrage regulatory and tax loopholes. Bingo. Finance has become the end-all for many in society, these crooks. Instead of enabling commerce, it siphons off the gains of productivity, rerouting them into concentrated pools of speculative capital. Bingo. Bingo. The cost of intermediation, the price of matching savers with borrowers, has hardly budged in over a century, even as technology should have made it vastly cheaper. That's one reason I like the crypto. This bloated financial sector doesn't just misallocate capital, I agree, it actively displaces capital. When 20% of the economy is dedicated to moving money around, that sounds like my father would say that to me, rather than making things, the net result is less investment in physical infrastructure, manufacturing, research, and long-term innovation. Luckily, we still stick up for Israel and bomb any country that they pick a fight with, but they're so puny, they need to call on their big brother to bail them out of the fights they get themselves into. But he didn't say any of that. We build apps to trade stocks. That's going to be GTII, but not the semiconductor foundries that power them. It sounds like Northern Virginia is getting in the game of becoming an economic powerhouse. That's why I'd like to talk to Lawrence Demina, and I don't know if he's the same guy that came up yesterday that worked on 15 data centers. I thought that was a different name, but the names get confused here the last 3 days. We build apps to trade stocks, but not the semiconductor foundries to power them. The price of financialization is measured in the erosion of the middle class. Bravo, I love this guy. This is exactly. And for all those guys that, what is this guy on YouTube? Well, how much money does he need? That's the fight I'm fighting. But this guy, David Morgan, is saying it much better maybe than I've expressed it. When finance dominates wealth, it's the sentence is on two lines, and I emphasized the wrong word. When finance dominates, wealth flows uphill. The compounding nature of interest, dividends, and capital gains favor those who already own assets. I used to have a house. While wages stagnate and job security erodes. Talk to David about it. The 2008 financial crisis wasn't just a black swan, it was the inevitable outcome of a system that rewards leverage over labor, speculation over savings. The real economy suffers too. All right, I'm gonna leave it there because this will give us something to talk about next time. Let's see where the price is closed. Railtown no longer has a bid or ask, but it looks like it closed at 43 cents, 0.4302. And the volume, 344,000 shares, and Rail didn't even trade in Canada. Tesla is closing at is still trading at 301. G-Bucks closed at 162, that's up. GTII 13.5, I think that's slightly down, still absurd. And Finger closed at $2, but it's up in the aftermarket at 205. And Nixie closed at 215. No, 210. It's up 5 in the aftermarket. I guess there is some buying on that news that it's on the whatever that index was with an E on it, the Russell 3000E. The volume 641. That's a good move, but even if it goes up, I still stand by the decision, my decision to get out of Nixie and into Railtown. It's because we're waiting that you don't see what's coming. Once it comes, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see what I'm talking about. The question for Railtown, when they announce, which is a prediction, maybe something will happen that they don't, but when they finish this acquisition and announce it, that's going to bring in buyers. And, I guess it could bring in sellers, but it's going to bring in buyers. And the question is, can those buyers come in at 40 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents? I think it'll be the retail and some of the whales can come in there. But some of the funds who are set up with parameters and investment committees, they'll have limits. They'll have cutoffs. Maybe it's $5 a share, $4, $3, $2, $1. Maybe it's $10 a share. So there'll be these levels where these bigger firms will come in. But that's what I think as the stock goes up, it's going to stair step up, and then these become somewhat floors as it goes up, because then you're in the world again where you're not relying on, oddball research companies and hiring people to promote the stock, which you'll still do. But you'll be in these institutions who can afford to have their own trading desks, afford to have their own research departments, afford to have their own analysts that can communicate directly with the company, and they're clued into all of Wall Street's research and Wall Street's ideas and bankers, and they're the first phone call, you're going to be in that. So when the shorts try to drive it down like they've done with every other single stock, starting with GME and AMC, they succeeded in all of those, getting them down. They're not going to be able to do it here, at least in the early stages, because there's this pent-up demand, and the institutional, in my opinion, the institutional demand that'll come in at whatever the cutoffs are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 maybe. It comes in, and then the shorts aren't going to be able to fight it. They'll try all their puny tricks that always work, but they're not going to work this time. And that's why they're in for a lot of hurt. But this isn't a short story, but I guess I'm just trying to tell you why I see it as different. When some of the other stocks we've bought have gone up, there's no buyers that then maintain a desk or maintain investment committees or maintain analysts or internal investment managers who are tracking the value of the stock, and there's more money to commit. So if I don't know, Finger goes to $9 and they drive it down to $5, there's nobody sitting at the the Farron family wealth advisors analyzing it, calling the committee together and saying, we liked Finger at 9, but we love it now at 5. I think we should go in and commit 2% of our capital to Finger, and then they're in there buying. But you don't have that. There may be also algorithmic countermeasures at some of these bigger funds too. I don't know. But there are none in most of these stocks that we're in. There's no defense. We're defenseless. And that's why it draws evil cowards, because it's just free money. All they have to do, put their conscience behind, which they can do. They can do that because most of the rest of humanity doesn't count. All right, let's see. I'm a general foreman for electric work. I'll email and send you my number. All right, Lawrence, that's great. When Fed lowers, all boats will lift. That's possible unless the bond market goes its own way. But you're right. If the Fed lowers rates, starts buying bonds, and there's belief throughout the system still in the U.S. dollar, the U.S. bond market, and Trump's, he's the only one doing it. Maybe the Democrats will. Trump's successful at bringing industry back and reshoring. That's the term, reshoring. You're right. It'll lift a lot of boats. I don't know if it'll lift all boats. I think it'd be very difficult to go through the school system now as a white, straight male. I think there's the experiment, and that's what it is, of the last 60 years of somehow white women jumped to the front of the line of victimization, but particularly making sure that the future is female, which fine. I mean, I'm not going to fight it, but I think things in the future are going to help. They've already helped women, but I think they'll continue to help women and minorities, which is, look, it's just how it is. But someday, white males will be the minority and we'll have our turn too. Hey, Sada, good to see you. Hey, Lawrence. Northern Virginia is running out of power. That's why Meta bought 3 Mile Island. I hate nuclear. I hate 3 Mile Island. That's where Hershey Chocolate Factory is. You're probably too young to remember 3 Mile Island. Jimmy Cutter went inside of it. But they released radioactivity into the surrounding farms. And it's we all do. We all eat chocolate from Hershey plants, but I don't think we should be. It's terrible, but we live in a world where we're going to destroy our world with nuclear. The things we're creating underneath the Earth's protection from the sun, it's just, we're doing it in less than 100 years. And every species, everything is going to be at risk. So I hate that they're buying 3 Mile Island. Ancient technology, risky technology, hate it. But anyway, data centers are moving south. Richmond, coal, gas, solar, and tobacco. You got tobacco. You got Powhite Parkway. You've got what else does Richmond have? You got Henrica County. You've got anyway. Yeah, there's a gentleman I met in Denver, really good guy. I haven't met him since, but he's come on a few times. And that's what he does, is build those subcompact nukes. And he tells me he's very polite, but he tells me I'm wrong on my concerns. And in fact, apparently those subcompacts might be able to process some of the nuclear waste. But no, it's frightening. Underneath, yeah, I have friends that live in Seattle. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near there. There's a huge bubble in the water table going into that river. Right now I'm forgetting the name of it. And once it flows, it's all radiation from the Hannaford and World War II. Who's going to win that? You know, the greatest thing about Iran's weaponry, and we're all so slow. We didn't create hypersonic missiles. Russia did, Iran did, and now China is probably copying them. But they all have hypersonic missiles, and they do powerful damage. You know what it might mean? People don't need nuclear weapons anymore. They use hypersonic missiles. That would be huge. There's no place, though, on the planet, South America somewhat, but you go to Argentina, I think they have 2 nuclear plants. There's no way to get away from the next nuclear accident. They happen on average every 5 years now. I think there was another Fukushima Daiichi on the other side of Japan when there was that earthquake, but they just banned all discussion. How does Russia and Ukraine go to war with 28 nuclear power plants and not have any leaks into the breadbasket of Europe. It's insanity. Human beings are insane. Absolutely insane. We have no protection against radiation. It concentrates in our fish. It concentrates in our food and our water. And then it changes our DNA. And we don't know how to fix it. Anyway. Powhite Parkway, yeah. Got to supply a lot of power for that cryptocurrency. I know. Arrestorfield, Cheaterfield, Chesterfield County, Southside, Chester County, Chesterfield, Midlothian. And a lot of heat and ticks and humidity. Sounds great, doesn't it? All right. I think I might sign off. 5:31. I wish everyone peace. I'm glad you guys came, Sada. I wish peace around the world, particularly for the children in Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and yes, if children are being killed in Israel and in Tehran, in the Ukraine, and the soldiers in the Ukraine and Russia. Pray for peace in the world, and we'll reconnect tomorrow. So thanks for signing in. Peace.